Hello, boys and girls. Today I have a wonderful story for you. Have you ever been to visit family somewhere? Or maybe have family come and visit you when they stay at your house for a little while? Well, I have a story about that today. And it is called, hang on, let me put my glasses on so I can see. Oh, so much better. It is called The Relatives Came. And it is written by my favorite author, Cynthia Rylant. And it's illustrated by Stephen Gamble. Now, Cynthia Rylant is the writer. She writes the words of the story. And Stephen Gamble is an illustrator, which means he draws the pictures that go with the story. So here's the story. The relatives came. And look, they've got their suitcases. Do you take your favorite stuffed animal with you? And their tennis shoes. Don't forget your shoes. Look, there are all of their things. They're going to pack all of that into their car. It was in the summer of the year when the relatives came. They came up from Virginia. They left when their grapes were nearly purple enough to pick, but not quite. And there they are, loading up all of their things into their car. They had an old station wagon that smelled like a real car. And in it, they put an ice chest full of soda pop and some boxes of crackers and some bologna sandwiches. And up they came from Virginia. They left at 4 a.m. when it was still dark, before even the birds were awake. And Virginia is a state in the United States. It's a state. So when they said they came up from Virginia, so that's where they were starting, in Virginia. Maybe later we'll look on the map and see where Virginia is. They drove all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains. And they thought about their almost purple grapes back home. They thought about Virginia, but they thought about us too, waiting for them. You can see the pictures where there's houses up on the hill, and they're traveling down. Look at all these houses. Look at the road, up and down, up and down. So they drank up all their pop and ate up all their crackers and traveled up all those miles until finally they pulled into our yard. And look, boys and girls, they literally pulled into the yard. They pulled into the fence. They broke the fence. Oh dear, they were so excited they forgot to put on the brakes and look at the family waiting for them. Then it was hugging time. Talk about hugging. Those relatives just passed us all around their car, pulling us against their wrinkled Virginia clothes, crying sometimes. They hugged us for hours. I always hug everybody when we see our family, right? We get so excited. Look at all of them. Everybody's so happy to see each other. Then it was into the house, and so much laughing and shining faces and hugging in the doorways. You'd have to go through at least 4 different hugs to get from the kitchen to the front room. Those relatives. So here they are going inside. You can see them through the windows, hugging everybody. And finally, after a big supper, 2 or 3 times around, until we all got a turn at the table, there was quiet talk, and we were in 2s and 3s through the house. You can see the kids at the table all eating. And then the relatives sitting all around talking to each other. Can you just imagine a family get together like that? Doesn't it make you miss your family from far away? Or excited to see them if they're coming for this, maybe during summer break? The relatives weren't particular about beds, which was good since there weren't any extras. So a few squeezed in with us, and the rest slept on the floor. Some with their arms thrown over the closest person, or some with an arm across one person and a leg across another. It was different going to sleep with all that new breathing in the house. And there's the bed. And see his arm right across. And then there's Grandma sleeping on the edge. Look at all of them. And look at everybody just kind of sleeping all over wherever they can. Can you imagine trying to sleep with all that breathing? People breathe at night. Sometimes people snore. That's kind of a type of breathing, right? They snore. Sometimes people just breathe loud. It's got to be different if you have all those new people in your house. The relatives stayed for weeks and weeks. They helped us tend the garden, and they fixed any broken things they could find. See him playing? Look, he's getting a haircut. And then over here, they're tending the garden. Tending the garden means that they are either helping to dig it or help to pull the weeds. Tend to the garden, take care of it. That's what it means. And look at they're fixing, there's a broken truck. If you look carefully, this car right here looks like the car that they drove up from Virginia in. Isn't that funny? They ate up all our strawberries and melons, then promised we could eat up all their grapes and peaches when we came to Virginia. And look what they're helping to fix. There's the fence that they ran into on the way in there, so they're helping fix the fence. And then they're making some music. You want to know a fun fact, boys and girls? This picture right here, this man right here playing the guitar, this is actually a picture of the illustrator. Remember we talked about the illustrator? The illustrator is the person who draws the pictures in the story. Well, he drew himself in this story, and that's Stephen Gamble. Isn't that silly? That's pretty cool. If you're the illustrator, you get to do that. It's pretty funny. But none of us thought about Virginia much. We were so busy hugging and eating and breathing together. I'm getting pictures. Right? You always take lots of pictures, right? When your family comes. Finally, after a long time, the relatives loaded up their ice chest and headed back to Virginia at 4 in the morning. We stood there in our pajamas and waved them off in the dark. We watched the relatives disappear down the road. Then we crawled back into our beds that felt too big and too quiet. We fell asleep. So there they're leaving. And there they are, waving them off. The moon is out. It looks like this maybe the sun, but see the sky is dark. So it's the moon because it's still very early in the morning, before the sun even comes out. And the relatives drove on all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their dark purple grapes waiting at home in Virginia. But they thought about us too, missing them, and they missed us. They're still driving. They drove all day, and now here it is, turning into the night again. And when they were finally home in Virginia, They crawled into their silent, soft beds and dreamed about the next summer. And there they are, right back to where they started. And out here is all their purple grapes. And one last picture, I'll be back. Look, there's their grapes on the vine. And that's the end of our story, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed it.